This process is much better than anything I've had done before of anything I could do hand polishing. It looks so much better than anything I've been able to accomplish myself in the past. I'm extremely happy.
Today our client is bringing us his 1966 Pontiac GTO for us to do a full two-step paint correction and then seal it with some NXTZEN Elite. All services at Humble Auto Spa start with a great wash. We're going to do a 3-bucket hand wash, so that's 2 buckets for paint, 1 for the wheels. Washing the vehicle from the top down this way mitigates the chances of dirt entering our mitt, which means that we get less swirl marks in the paint, reducing the amount of work we have to do later when we do the paint correction. So after the paint's been properly washed, it's time to decontaminate. It involves us taking things like a clay bar to pull out embedded contaminants that are stuck in the paint that don't come out with the wash. Washing it this way is really good practice even after we do the service to make sure that the paint stays crystal clear once we're done. And with that, the wash is done. We're gonna go ahead and pull it inside and you and I can take a look at this paint up close. The GTO is credited as one of the first true muscle cars in American car culture. With the stacked headlights, the split front hood, it really is a stunning and unique design. What really makes the GTO special is that because it was one of the very first of its kind, other automotive manufacturers from America had to step their game up to bring something cool to the market, mainly Chevy, Ford, and Mopar. In short, the 1966 GTO wasn't just a car, it symbolized a turning point in automotive history, setting the groundwork for many generations of muscle cars to come after that. Looking at this paint, you can see it's clean, but boy, it's weathered. You got deep scratches, swirl marks, you got some water spots that are stuck in there. This car needs a paint correction. So the first step we gotta do is we have to measure the paint to make sure that we have a good amount of paint that we're working with so we don't accidentally burn through when we're doing our paint correction. So we're gonna be doing the first stage of the paint correction. This part pairs a microfiber cutting pad with a heavy cutting compound, and this combo is designed to remove really deep defects from the paint. So think deep scratches, swirl marks, those water spots that are etched into the paint. This stuff here goes nuclear and sands it clean effectively. It's aggressive and you have to be really careful. You can't just go as crazy as you want on the paint. There's only a finite amount of paint on this vehicle. So when we do paint corrections, we actually go pretty modest. I never promise 100% better, but I do promise anywhere between 80 and 95%. So if you guys take a look at this trunk that we're working on, we did the cut first, right? So one half of it is done, the other half is not done. And you can see after the one-step paint correction, it removes a lot of those deeper scratches and it makes this surface very even in its finish. But if you look at the finish, it's actually covered in a slight haze. This is because the one-step paint correction is very aggressive. And because of that, it needs to cut a little deeper, but it leaves the haze. So we do the second stage to remove this haze, and then we're gonna be left with a crystal clear black finish. Not only is the combo different, but even the technique that we're using to polish the paint is different too. So with the first step, you actually lean into the paint and you put a little bit of heat and speed into the rotation so that it cuts really heavy. But the second stage requires actually a fine, delicate hand. You can't just be digging into the paint. With this here, the name of the game here is consistent speed and rotation, right? So we're not really leaning into the paint quite as hard. We're not putting a lot of pressure on our pad, but we're getting a really good rotation across the paint, and that is what's gonna get rid of this haze. So when we're doing paint correction, you'll notice that we have a couple different tools at our disposal. And this is really important, right? So our big 5-inch tool is designed to cut the majority of the big panels. So think the door, the hood, the trunk. It clears a lot of surface area. But we have smaller tools like the 3-inch and even a 1-inch to get into the nooks and crannies of this vehicle to make sure that all of the surfaces are cut evenly across the car. Finally, this paint is looking really, really good. So the restoration part of this service is done, right? So if you look at this paint, it has a beautiful mirror-like finish, free of most of those swirl marks, scratches, water spots, oxidation from the sun. This paint actually has a minor flake in it. Take a look at some of this B-roll up close. You can see this paint is not actually pure flat black. There is a small amount of flake in it. That finish has been revealed after doing that extensive paint correction, and now we can really admire the paint for what it is. So now it's time to seal it with our preservation step. NXTZEN Elite is a professional grade ceramic coating that I've really grown to love. With this particular coating, its major strengths are that it's a very flexible coating. A lot of coatings on the market are very physically hard, but NXTZEN Elite is actually quite flexible, which means that because of its flexibility, it doesn't water spot quite as bad. On this black GTO, this is going to make cleanup a breeze for the owner. That means that he doesn't have to scramble and clean up water spots as soon as he gets them washing outside. NXTZEN Elite is also extremely chemical resistant, specifically against pancreatin, the enzyme found in bird poop that etches and destroys paint. Thankfully, NXTZEN Elite, because of its incredible chemical resistance, it's going to really preserve the vehicle against that type of wear and tear over time. One application of NXTZEN Elite is good for, in the basic application, 3 years minimum. But to be honest, on a car like this GTO that only gets driven on nice days, it's going to easily push past 5+ years. For perspective, I've seen NXTZEN Elite on a daily driver in Minnesota, where I'm from, last 5+ years through the salt. So if this GTO is only going on sunny days, yeah, this is going to last a really long time. When we're laying NXTZEN Elite, we have to do it really meticulously, panel by panel. This is super important because any leftover residue is going to appear as a little oil slick called a high spot. We don't want high spots on a black car. You're going to see it clear as day, right? So we have to be very thorough when we're installing NXTZEN Elite. As you look at this coating, as we pour it onto the pad, you can see it's actually a very thick coating. Compared to consumer grade coatings on the market that are designed to be really easy to install, NXTZEN Elite, not saying it's easy as well, it can be pretty difficult and have its own quirks, but NXTZEN Elite is far more concentrated than a consumer grade coating, which means that, yeah, you can totally mess this up if you don't know what you're doing, which is why you have to be a NXTZEN Elite authorized dealer to even sell and install this product. When installing NXTZEN Elite on the panels of this GTO, we have to make sure that the product gets spread evenly across the surface. Because NXTZEN Elite is so thick, I would describe the viscosity kind of like maple syrup almost, right? You have to kind of spread it out, kind of like this, where you go horizontally up and down in rows, and then you have to go vertically like this as well, back and forth. And in doing so, it helps ensure even coverage of the panel that we're protecting. With NXTZEN Elite, thickness is key, and so we have to be really sure to get all of the surface area of the panel that we're treating, and then we have to let it cure properly before buffing it off. As we buff it off, we're going to use 2 to 3 different towels. The first 2 kind of mop up the majority of NXTZEN Elite, the residue, but the third towel is kind of like our insurance towel to make sure that we're not leaving any marks behind. So we have to do this panel by panel, really meticulously, until the entire vehicle is done. I'm really glad we got to work on this GTO. This car marks a very special vehicle in our shop because this is one of the first classics that we've done here at Humble Crew Auto Spa year to date, right? We don't get a lot of classics often, but when we do, we love spending extra time on it because the before and after is so dramatic, and the end result is always worth the amount of effort that we put into it. This GTO is such a special vehicle, not only to us, but also to our client, and I'm really happy we got the opportunity to work on this car. The project ended up taking about 5 business days to knock out. It was a very labor-intensive process, but the end result was so dope. This finish looks absolutely incredible, and I'm so glad that we got to seal it in. So if you've got a classic car and you want to restore it in the same way we've done here and then preserve it in NXTZEN Elite, you're gonna wanna hit me up. We really take our time with jobs like this, as you've seen, but the end result is always worth the wait. It's Jesse at Humble Crew Auto Spa, signing out.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep. Everything's all cleaned up.
Oh, very good. From a distance, a very big difference,
Yep.
and up
Even
close.
yeah.
All the little stuff, you really have to look close to find anything anymore.
Oh yeah.
No, very good. This is awesome.
Yep. And of course, all the chips kind of got touched up as well.
Yeah. Like I said,
So.
you don't notice them like you did before.
Oh yeah. Before it was kind of a sore thumb, but now.
Right, you could see them from very far away, and now you really have to get up to really look for them, which is perfect because
Yep.
it's a driver's car. I want to drive it, and
Yeah.
but it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Very good. Hit up Humble Crew if you need a paint correction here in Plano.